Aruba is called one happy island. Perhaps happiness here is measured in inverse proportion to rainfall, of which there is very little. This popular travel destination sits neatly in the southern Caribbean, 29 kilometers north of Venezuela, just far enough from hurricanes. Aruba measures 32 kilometers in length and 10 kilometers across at its widest point. These dimensions are important. They limit fantasy, but they also limit logistical drama. You can drive around Aruba in an afternoon. The island belongs to the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire and Curaçao, which sounds like a children's educational program but is in fact a geographical designation. These islands are also called the Leeward Antilles, which sounds marginally more sophisticated. Here's something important. Aruba is not an independent country. It's a constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which already complicates the mental map. Caribbean island, Dutch passport, American electrical sockets, multilingual signage, dollars accepted, florins still present. Aruba doesn't really simplify itself for visitors. Aruba sits below the hurricane belt. This is genuinely its primary meteorological selling point. While other Caribbean destinations nervously monitor weather patterns from June through November, Aruba continues operating without any troubles. The climate is dry. Average annual rainfall is low. The vegetation reflects this. Cacti dominate large areas of the interior. Divi-divi trees grow consistently angled due to prevailing trade winds, which blow from the east with enough regularity to become a design factor rather than a surprise. The interior landscape consists primarily of limestone, scrub, and exposed rock. This corrects the common assumption that all Caribbean islands have dense greenery. Aruba does not. Beaches, however, are where most attention concentrates, and for reasons that are easy to verify. The sand is light-coloured and fine, the shoreline slopes gradually. The water clarity remains high due to limited river runoff and minimal sediment disturbance. Wave action is mild for much of the year because of the island's position relative to prevailing weather systems. Tourism in Aruba is not a side effect. It is the structure. Everything else fits around it. Tourism accounts for the majority of Aruba's economic activity, directly and indirectly. Hotels, restaurants, transport services, retail, construction, utilities, and government revenue all connect back to visitor volume. This connection is explicit. Aruba does not hide its dependence on tourism behind euphemisms like emerging sector or diversification phase. Large resort zones cluster along the western coast, especially around Palm Beach. These zones concentrate accommodation, dining, and beach access in defined areas. Queen Beatrix International Airport sits near the capital Oranjestad and handles nearly all international arrivals. The airport is modern, efficient, and structured around high passenger throughput. Flight connections prioritize North America. Direct routes operate from multiple US cities year-round, with additional seasonal capacity. Connections to Europe are there, primarily through the Netherlands. There is no rail system. None is required. Road transport dominates. The road network is good, clearly marked, and designed for moderate speeds. Oranjestad is the capital of Aruba. It sits on the south coast. This means calm water, easy docking, fewer dramatic waves, and a shoreline that makes sense for ships, storage, and schedules. Aruba itself is small, dry, and flat, and Oranjestad reflects that with impressive consistency. No mountains and no surprises, just a long, low city stretched along the sea. Dutch colonial buildings line the main streets, painted in colours that can only be described as aggressive: pinks, yellows, teals. The effect is less Caribbean charm and more box of crayons. 35,000 people live in the downtown area. The population reflects Aruba's history of immigration waves, Dutch colonial presence, Venezuelan workers, Caribbean migration, and American influence. For the downtown core, walking works. The central area measures perhaps a kilometre in each direction. Most tourist-relevant sites are within this zone. The heat makes walking less pleasant than it might otherwise be, but morning and evening hours are pleasant. Oranjestad has a free trolley service through the downtown area. This is genuinely free. No fare, no catch, just hop on and ride. The trolleys are styled to look vintage, but they're modern vehicles dressed up for tourism purposes. The route runs 2 kilometers along the main commercial streets. It takes perhaps 20 minutes for a complete circuit. The trolleys operate from morning through evening, coordinated with cruise ship schedules. Speaking of cruise ships, the cruise port is the beating commercial heart of modern Oranjestad. The port facilities sit near downtown. Multiple ships can dock simultaneously on busy days. Some cruise passengers go beyond the downtown area. They go on excursions to beaches, natural pools, the California Lighthouse, and the Arikok National Park. Tour buses depart with reasonable frequency, but many passengers just stay there and shop. Peak cruise season runs from December through April, coinciding with North American and European winter. When home is cold and grey, the Caribbean becomes extremely attractive. Oranjestad during these months operates at full capacity. Every shop is staffed and every restaurant extended into outdoor seating. The off-season brings fewer ships. The capital of Aruba becomes notably calmer. Residents reclaim the waterfront and prices at certain establishments drop slightly. Oranjestad is a commercial centre rather than a beach destination. The famous beaches, Eagle Beach, Palm Beach and Baby Beach, sit elsewhere on the island. Travellers staying at resort complexes in the hotel zone might visit Oranjestad for a morning of shopping or an evening dinner, but they're not really there for the downtown experience. Prices here are high for several reasons. First, everything must be imported. Aruba produces almost nothing domestically except aloe. Food, goods, materials, fuel, all shipped in. Transportation costs are high. The tourism economy creates willingness to pay elevated prices. Visitors expect to spend money. The island's status within the Dutch kingdom imposes certain wage and regulatory standards that increase baseline costs. Before we continue this journey, please push the like button to support our channel. Palm Beach. Two words that, when combined, suggest the sort of place where one might finally achieve inner peace, or at the very least, a moderately decent tan. This extremely popular tourist area sits on Aruba's northwest coast. It's a 2-kilometre-long stretch of sand running parallel to a row of high-rise resorts. This gives the whole area a tidy, curated look. The distance from airport to Palm Beach is 10 kilometres, which translates to about 15 minutes by taxi under normal conditions, and 30 minutes if you've arrived simultaneously with a cruise ship disembarkation. Rental cars are available at the airport from the usual international suspects and several local agencies. The sea here is calm and reliably warm. The sand is white, not the disappointing beige that other Caribbean destinations try to pass off as white sand. It does not squeak underfoot, and it does not attack your shoes. Credit where it's due. You can walk for ages without feeling like you're trespassing or being funneled toward a specific hotel. That said, the resorts do quietly mark their territory with rows of loungers, umbrellas, and signs reminding you that certain chairs belong to someone else, probably with a wristband. It's not hostile, just gently territorial, like parking spaces. Palm Beach is not where you go to feel windswept. The trade winds are present, but polite. The water is great for swimming, floating, and drifting. Snorkeling is easy, though the marine life keeps expectations reasonable. You'll see some fish, that's it. The hotels dominate the skyline, and yes, they're big. They're also very good at what they do. If you like efficiency, air conditioning that works, and friendly staff, you'll be comfortable here. But if you don't like resorts on principle, Palm Beach will not convert you. You're going to end up at Eagle Beach anyway. Between the hotels and the beach runs a strip of restaurants, bars and shops. This is where Palm Beach leans fully into its role. Everything is walkable, everything is illuminated, everything wants you to sit down, eat something grilled, and have a drink with ice in it. The food scene is better than you might expect if your expectations are low. There's a mix of Caribbean, Latin, American, and vaguely Mediterranean options, with seafood featuring heavily, as it should. Fish arrives grilled, fried, or stacked in tacos. Prices are not shy. Palm Beach isn't a bargain destination. You pay for location, consistency, and the fact that you don't have to think too hard. Shopping here is functional rather than thrilling. You can buy beachwear, jewellery, aloe products and souvenirs. There are malls, open air and otherwise, doing their duty without flair. If retail therapy is your thing, this will not cure you, but it might distract you briefly. Nightlife in Palm Beach is lively but contained. Bars fill up early, and music drifts across the strip. There's dancing if you want it, DJs who know their audience, and enough variety to prevent boredom. It's social without being feral. You're unlikely to stumble into chaos by accident. This is nightlife with handrails. Palm Beach attracts a particular crowd: couples, families, groups who enjoy predictability and sunlight in equal measure. It's international without being confusing. English is everywhere, but also some Dutch influences. One of Palm Beach's defining traits is how easy it is. Transport is simple, and taxis are everywhere. The area feels safe, clean, and well managed. This is comforting and, depending on your temperament, slightly dull. There's very little friction. Nothing pushes back. If you want adventure, you'll need to leave Palm Beach and go looking for it elsewhere on Aruba. Palm Beach will not chase you down with surprises. Eagle Beach is another popular destination among travelers. It sits just south of Palm Beach, but has a different vibe. Same side of the island, same sea, very different energy. This is where things spread out and calm down. If Palm Beach is tightly scheduled, Eagle Beach is loosely organized. Not chaotic, just less interested in structure. This beach is famous for space. Even on busier days, it rarely feels crowded in a claustrophobic way. Towels are placed with a respectful buffer zone. There's room to be there without overhearing every nearby conversation, which feels like a basic human right once you've experienced it. Resorts are set back from the shore, keeping the beachfront relatively open and uncluttered. It's refreshingly free of towering hotels looming over you. There are beach restaurants and bars, but they don't cluster into a convenient strip. You'll need to plan slightly or accept a bit of walking. Swimming here is easy and forgiving. The wind is more noticeable than on some other beaches, which is both blessing and mild nuisance. It keeps the heat manageable and discourages insects. It also has strong opinions about your towel placement and any loose items you brought without thinking. Kite surfers appear offshore, doing their thing. Sunsets here are really nice, with the horizon wide open. Eagle Beach attracts a varied crowd: couples, families, and solo visitors with books. It's less curated than Palm Beach and less communal than Baby Beach. People arrive, settle, and mind their own business. There are palapas positioned at various points along the sand. These provide relief from the aforementioned intense heat. Some are free and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Others are associated with specific hotels or can be rented for the day. Eagle Beach is public. This is important to understand if you travel to Aruba. All beaches on the island are public property, regardless of which hotel might be fronting them. You have every right to access any portion of the beach, even if it means walking past resorts that might prefer you didn't. Some hotels make access slightly more confusing than necessary, with facilities that suggest privatization, but legally, the sand and water belong to everyone. The road runs close to the beach, but traffic noise is minimal. You're aware of civilization without feeling interrupted by it. Parking is easy, which feels like a small but meaningful victory. The California Lighthouse stands at the northwestern tip of Aruba on Hudishibana Hill. The name, incidentally, has nothing whatsoever to do with California. California is 3,500 miles away. The lighthouse was named after the SS California, a steamship that sank nearby in 1891. It was completed in 1916, and its purpose was navigational rather than commemorative. The lighthouse itself is 18 meters tall. This is, for reference, not tall. The average giraffe is 6 meters, so we're talking 3 giraffes stacked vertically. As a travel destination, the California Lighthouse operates only as a viewpoint. For $7 you can climb to the top. There are 48 narrow stairs. The walls of the interior are thick. The lighthouse was built to last, or at least built to be thick. The ascent takes 2 minutes for those of reasonable fitness. At the top, you get quite good views. The panorama from the observation deck is genuinely impressive. One can see the entire northern coastline. The contrast between the calmer Caribbean side and the rougher Atlantic-facing waters becomes immediately apparent. The lighthouse sits at the end of a road, with parking nearby. This ease of arrival makes it one of the more frequently visited sites on the island. A few paths extend into the rocky terrain nearby, but there is no trail system. The California Lighthouse isn't exactly a highlight, but it's worth 45 minutes of your Aruban holiday. San Nicolas sits at the southern end of Aruba, as far from the resort-saturated hotel strips of Palm Beach as one can get without requiring a boat. The town owes its existence, in large part, to oil, specifically to the Largo refinery that operated here from 1928 until 1985, then again sporadically afterward, in the manner of a relationship that neither party can quite commit to ending. The refinery brought workers from across the Caribbean, which explains the town's notably more diverse character compared to Oranjestad. When the refinery closed, San Nicolas experienced economic restructuring. The buildings emptied and businesses shuttered. The town centre became a bit knackered. But here's where things get more interesting. Someone had the notion that what San Nicolas needed was murals, large ones covering almost every available vertical surface. The result, after several years and numerous international artists, is that walking through San Nicolas now feels rather like wandering through a very humid outdoor gallery. The artwork is contemporary and often politically or culturally referential. It contrasts sharply with the surrounding architecture, which is low-rise, concrete-heavy, and visibly shaped by heat management rather than design trends. San Nicolas lacks the manicured perfection of the resort strips. It offers neither water parks nor shopping complexes. What it offers instead is a town with actual history, reasonable prices, and murals in quantities sufficient to satisfy even the most dedicated viewer of painted walls. Just south of San Nicolas, at the far southern tip of Aruba, you'll find the famous Baby Beach. First impressions matter, so let's get this out of the way. Baby Beach is shaped like a shallow, curved lagoon. The sea here barely qualifies as the open ocean. It's shallow far out, protected by a reef, and famously gentle. You can walk into the water without any sudden drops or dramatic moments. It's a beach that accommodates you, whether you deserve it or not. The sand is pale and soft, though not dramatically different from other Aruban beaches. Let's talk about the name, because yes, it comes up. Baby Beach sounds like something invented by a marketing committee that panicked at the last minute. In reality, it refers to the shallow water, which is suitable for children and anyone who prefers their swimming with minimal effort. It does not mean the beach is overrun with toddlers. It does, however, mean you will see a lot of people standing waist deep in water, chatting, floating, and holding drinks. You'll get a lot of space, especially on weekdays or early mornings. Also, plenty of room to spread out and set up camp. On weekends, locals arrive in numbers with coolers, shade tents, and a level of preparedness that makes casual visitors look faintly underqualified. The family contingent is significant. Remember, this beach is named for its baby friendliness, and parents have taken this as an invitation. You will hear children. You will see children splashing, shouting, digging holes, and demanding snacks. If the presence of children disturbs your peace, you have chosen the wrong beach and possibly the wrong island. Swimming here is easy, almost too easy. You won't be battling currents or waves. Snorkeling is possible, particularly near the edges of the lagoon, where the reef adds some interest. There are a few snack bars and restaurants near the beach, serving burgers, fried fish, and drinks that lean heavily on sugar and ice. The food is fine, not memorable, not offensive, just there to prevent hunger from ruining your mood. The surrounding area is industrial, and it's impossible to ignore. The oil refinery is nearby, along with shipping activity that reminds you this island does more than host visitors. What Baby Beach does not offer is variety. This is a one-note location, albeit a very good note. You swim, you float, you sit, you snack, you repeat. There's no long promenade, no wandering from bar to bar, no sense of discovery unfolding over hours. If you need constant stimulation, you'll be restless by mid-afternoon. If you're happy with repetition and sunshine, you'll wonder why you ever leave. Arikok National Park covers 20% of Aruba. It occupies a large, continuous area across the central and northeastern portion of the island. The park stretches from the interior hills near Santa Cruz eastward and northward toward the Atlantic shoreline. Arikok is a buffer zone between Aruba's developed western side and the more exposed Atlantic-facing coast. One does not simply walk into Arikok. Access is controlled through designated entrances, usually from the central part of the island near Santa Cruz. Entry requires a fee, and movement inside the park is limited by terrain rather than rules. Many roads are uneven and unpaved. A high-clearance vehicle is strongly recommended for deeper sections, especially those leading toward the northern coastline. The natural pool, or conchi, is a depression in volcanic rock formed through erosion and wave action. The surrounding stone creates a barrier that reduces wave energy inside the basin. The result is a calmer area within an otherwise turbulent zone. The cacti deserve a special mention. Arikok has several varieties, including the columnar kadushi cactus, which provides fruit used in local cuisine, and the prickly pear, which provides exactly what its name suggests. Facilities inside the park are limited. There are rest areas and basic information points, but no continuous services. Food, water, and fuel must be planned in advance. Hiking is one of the main activities here. There are some marked paths, but also loosely indicated tracks across rock and scrub. Have you already visited Aruba? Leave some useful travel tips in the comments. If you loved this video, please push the like button and subscribe to World Travel Guide.